Episode 2, match week 1 in the books, and we come back with, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to go out. Good news, not necessarily bad news. We've got some transfer news. This video coming out, this episode coming out a little later than I had originally claimed. I said it would be coming out Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning. I'm now recording this on Wednesday afternoon, about 4:48 in the afternoon to be precise. And the reason for that is because a lot of Enzo Fernandez news, a lot of Liam Delap news, a lot of Jackson news. So in and amongst the usual shenanigans of recapping the last match week, going over the next game. Of course, we've got Luton in the Carabao Cup tomorrow, or on Thursday. I don't know when this video is going to be going out. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm planning on this going out straight away after this is all said and done. But, of course, we have to go over FPL. And then I've got down Chelsea's issues, Chelsea's pros, and then, of course, Luton and Brighton, so on, so forth. So it could be a little bit of a long one. So do strap yourselves in, get yourself something to drink, maybe a little snack and then little nibbles or something like that. I don't know. Well, whatever you've got to do to get through this next 45 minutes to an hour. Not that it will be too much of a slog because, we have a good time, don't we? So please do like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. More content every day. As the days go by. Of course, if you're listening to me on Spotify, please give me a 5-star ratings and follow if you would be so kind. Without further ado, we'll go through the Premier League fixtures one by one. Just a quick recap, nothing too crazy. Although that said, of course, it was a crazy start to the season. We started with Arsenal 3, Coventry 0. A bit of a formality, and I've got to be honest with you, considering how the rest of the weekend went, probably the most predictable out of the lot in terms of what people were expecting versus what we got. Arsenal, for what it's worth, are considered the front runners. They are the champions. They are the reigning champions. So it is no surprise that they came into this game and did very well against the newly promoted Frank Lampard Coventry City. From what I remember, Havertz kicking it off, Saka with a fairly easy goal. I could be wrong. Back post, poorly defended, if I remember correctly. And then Odegaard. I think after that, we did a stream for it, of course, just to kick off the new season. And I think I ended it with like 10 minutes to go. But again, it was a domination in many ways. 20 shots on target to Coventry's 4. I suspect, whilst it is obviously against Frank Lampard when we come to play them, which I don't think it's actually that far away. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually on New Year, or is it Boxing Day? It's Boxing Day we've got them. So, I don't know. Last Christmas, last New Year, it wasn't very good. Fulham, Leeds, I think it was. Not necessarily going loss for loss, but I don't think it was the best. I was away. I was in Cornwall. And I think when I arrived, it was the Leeds game. Then I think we had Fulham, or maybe it was Ipswich. I don't know, one or the other. I think the Christmas before that was Ipswich, and that was when Delap and Amari Hutchinson ran rampant on us. And, well, we'll get on to Delap in just a few minutes. But again, a very sort of bog standard, you expect to see it kind of game from Arsenal at the Emirates. What wasn't expected, although in hindsight, I think a lot of people, this and the Tottenham result, people are like, some things change and others just stay the same. And for this, it's Manchester United and Tottenham. We'll just do the double header because they are more or less the same situation. Brought in new faces. For Manchester United, at least in the lineup, they had the likes of Santos from us, of course. Need I say more? They had Tielemans, and I think that was it, really. And then for Tottenham, I mean, they just had fucking everyone. they they've got, from what I can see, they've got, I can't remember. It's Van. I can't remember, but Robertson, Tonali. They had obviously the return of James Maddison, Matias Fernandez. They've now got Marmouche, which again we'll get into that shortly, but I'm seeing so many excuses from people saying like, well, we're missing a lot of people. We've got a lot of injuries. And not really, mate. Not really. Manchester United, unless I'm forgetting someone pretty substantial, don't think they've got anyone missing. I think that is actually the team that they're going to have. I think they had some, not Buad. Buadi's gone to City. I can't remember who it is that's gone to United. But also begins with B. Can't imagine he'll be that much of a big difference to bring them out the mud. But obviously now James Maddison's out for 10 days with a fractured something or other. And then honestly, I just can't picture. They've got Savinho coming in, which is pretty big. And then they've got Marmouche coming in. Is he going to be that much better than Richarlison, Solanke? Probably. However, when you look at the way Tottenham played against Brentford, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, where did I have them? I might actually have it on here. Premier League predictions. I had Brentford in 8th place, which, looking at Aston Villa, who I had in 7th, not the best performance from them. I don't know. First impressions, Brentford looking pretty good. First impressions, Tottenham Hotspur, not even looking bad. They just look the same old, because let's not forget, they finished in or around, the relegation zone for 2 seasons running now. So is it Tottenham are just, shit again? Or is it that this is just Tottenham at this point? I don't know. They've made a lot of purchases, a lot of sales, a lot of incomings, big names, big signings, big money, to say the least. And again, it's all very early days. I want to preface, I see a lot of people jumping down the throat of a lot of these clubs, and it's fun to pick on these clubs because they've, so much has been expected and then they just not delivered. Moving on, there is obviously a lot of place for improvement, but I can't physically see Tottenham actually going down. I think based on that one game, they'll be thereabouts based on that. However, might I remind you, I do have them in 6th. Transfer window has been unreal somehow, and no European football. I think the no European football and maybe the signing of either Marmouche or Savinho, or Savio, I think he's going by now, will pay dividends. Really, it will, in the long run. A team who didn't surprise me in any way was Crystal Palace. They are now obviously, losing Ismail Assar, I think, is going to Liverpool at the moment, if that's correct. We've also got the whole Jean-Philippe Mateta debacle, where he's claiming that his contract isn't legitimate anymore, and so he's off to Villa or something. I don't know. It's all over the place. And obviously, they have also gone for. We're still talking about Crystal Palace. Sorry, Aston Villa and Jackson being linked there as well is currently being reported. Ipswich with a big surprise, but again, going back, sorry, I'm excited. Crystal Palace, not surprising. I've got them in 17th. A real contender to go down. I think that their time has come. They've had chances to rise above the usual season, but I think this is the beginning of the fall off. You look at the players that they are losing. Ismail Assar and Mateta are 2 big names. If Chelsea come in, if Enzo goes and Chelsea are looking for a replacement, Wharton is 100% in that ilk, in that group of players who we may well be going after, along with Scott and a number of other players. But I just wasn't surprised to hear that Everton, who I had 11th, I don't think that's unnecessary now based on what we saw from them in their opening impression. This is what I'm going off of. Crystal Palace, proving me completely right so far, it's got to be said. We also had Ipswich, big result for them against Sunderland, who, again, Sunderland I've got in 12th. Ipswich in 19th. I don't see Ipswich keeping up with the rest of everyone. Nottingham Forest losing to Leeds 1-0. Ironically, looking at that, they need goals. They need goals. So who have they bought? They've bought Liam Delap, of all people. They have bought Liam Delap for 45 million, and it could raise to 50 million. So we have made potentially 20 million pounds profit on Liam Delap, whom we bought for 30 million pounds. And he's been buns. He's been absolute doo-doo. He's not been good in any way, shape, or form. Absolutely. I saw a tweet suggesting that he's going to be like the next Salah, the next De Bruyne, the next, you name it, player who we let go way too soon, and then they've gone on to flourish in this magical, career. I mean, it's possible. He's only 23 years of age, but still, based on what we've seen, you would be a fool. You would be a damn fool to not jump at the idea of even breaking even losing like maybe 5 million, 10 million, selling him for 20 million, I think is good business. Selling him for evens, an even return at 30 million is good business. Selling him for 45 million pounds is phenomenal, unbelievable business. That, along with what we get for Jackson, what we get for Enzo Fernandez, we are going to be making real money here, which I hope that we put to use before the window closes, because I do not predict that the likes of Wharton, the likes of Scott, who apparently isn't even available really, are going to be available in January, to be honest with you. That said, I don't necessarily... Well, no, I think Enzo's gone personally, but again, like I keep saying, we'll get to the transfer situation in just a minute. We had Brighton absolutely demolishing Aston Villa, which we've kind of gone over already. Brighton I had coming in at 9th, Aston Villa in 7th, so it could well be that it's like a sort of like a crazy start for Villa, but then the likes of Jackson coming in. Who else was it that they're linked with? I think it was just Jackson, wasn't it? I'm completely losing track here. But 60 million pounds for Jackson is what is being touted here. And if I look at what we paid for him, I feel like that's a 32 million. We are making double on what we paid for Nicholas Jackson back in 2023. That loan spell at Bayern Munich, 23 games in the league, 8 goals. That's not bad. It's not bad. So the fact that we're practically doubling our profit, or we're getting a double amount of the money, twice the you know what I'm trying to say. We're doubling our money basically on what we've spent on him in the first place. Man City versus Bournemouth. I'm fairly sure that is one of the more frustrating games that any of us watched, to be honest with you. Maresca nearly ate a bowl of shit, and I believe he should have done. I think in a way, this will be worse. Maybe I'm coping with that, but maybe I think it's going to be worse for Man City that he has scraped a win like that, Some may see it as like we dodged a bullet, let's build on this, use it as momentum, and then whatever. But I see it as Man City fans will cope and say, well, I mean, he got the job done. Yeah. He's got that fight in him. He's got that dog in him. No. No. We've seen it time and time again. I think Man City fans are in for a long season unless he gets sacked in January. Don't see that happening necessarily. I wish him nothing but the worst in his footballing career, at least at Man City. And yeah, we'll come back to this towards the end. Newcastle, or the end of the season, I mean. Newcastle versus Liverpool, of course, an absolute belter of a game, made to be a draw by, of course, a former Chelsea player. Lewis Hall, dodgy tackle in the box. I've seen people debating whether or not it's a penalty or not. It 100% is. I think a deserving, well, probably not a deserving. I would have preferred Newcastle to win, to be honest with you. But the game was very sort of, I don't know. I feel like a draw was very fitting. 27 shots, for God's sake, for Liverpool. So, yeah, like I've seen a lot of people harping on about Wirtz, about Isak, both being completely overrated, overpriced, and I do tend to agree. Szoboszlai, though, what a baller. Fuck me, what a penalty that was. Absolutely ludicrous penalty from Szoboszlai, who is in my FPL. We'll get to that after this one. We've got Fulham versus Chelsea. Let's see what I've got written down, if anything, to be honest with you. We'll go through FPL after I talk about, well, I don't know. Well, okay, just to preface, the release of these episodes is purely going to be random. I really would like to keep it on a specific day, but I feel like it's going to be hard, you know. I'd like to aim for Tuesdays or Wednesdays, but realistically, it's going to be difficult because of news. I think at the moment, because of the transfer windows, or the transfer window rather, it's hard because there's news. I didn't want to post this and then immediately it's null and void because Enzo's gone, Liam Delap's gone, Jackson's going. There's so much to talk about since the game finished, and I was planning on recording pretty much the morning after we played Fulham, and like I say, a lot has changed. So We'll just quickly go over. Obviously, it is a fantastic performance. I've obviously done a video on this as well, my review. I mean, the JP Morgan, which I'm not a fan of that personally. CPR I saw was I think pretty good, but I've seen people be like, you can't make light of CPR. It's people's lives on the line. Our lives were on the line. Chelsea were on the line. And these three have resuscitated, or appear to be, resuscitating the club from the fucking feet up. Okay? So if we want to call them CPR, by God, we'll call them CPR. Because that is what they're doing. They are resuscitating this club if they continue to play even remotely like they did in this game. Brilliant performance from all three. I liked what I saw from Lacroix. Need I say more? Sanchez, an absolute bum. And, that's who else we were linked to. We've been gifted or given the opportunity to sign a goalkeeper. So, again, when I get to it. Right, let's quickly go over FPL because, yeah, listen, I've not had the best of weeks. It's got to be said. In terms of FPL, I don't think any of us really. There was a couple of nerds in the table, and we'll just leave it at that. Really. So here we go. These are the points I got after match week 1. Raya with a 6, James with a 0. And for that, you would imagine that I'm going to take him out of the squad. I have got my revised squad for the match week 2 to show you in just a second. Obviously, that can still change, I think, by Friday. Because, I mean, injuries might happen in the Carabao Cup and so on. Mitchell with 1, Gabriel with 5, O'Reilly with 2, Fernandez with 2, Cherky with 8, Rogers with 8, Szoboszlai with 8, Igor Thiago, who was my captain, with 0, and Joao Pedro with 11. On the bench, we had Matthews, Shaw, Gross, and Brobby, who, as a collective, brought in 5 points. So, I mean, first and foremost, I've changed the formation so that it's now a 3-5-2. I've gone with Gross out because he was on the bench anyway. I've put Mitchell on the bench and then swapped out Gross for Lewis Skelly. So my team now consists of Raya in goal, James, Gabriel, and O'Reilly in defence. We'll see what happens with James. I feel like just because he's in defence doesn't mean that, like, if he's playing in midfield, this is going to be like, well, duh. If he's playing, he's playing. You know what I mean? Like, even if he's playing as a striker, but I've got him in defence, I don't think it really matters what he does as long as he does something that gets points. So James stays in the squad regardless of the fact that he got 0 points. Gabriel and O'Reilly. I just think Nico O'Reilly is going to be fantastic as always this season, as well as Gabriel, unfortunately. We've got Rogers, Bruno Fernandes, Cherky is now my vice captain, Szoboszlai, and Lewis Skelly in midfield. Igor Thiago stays. I do think, regardless of the fact that he missed a penalty the other day, I suspect that he will get into scoring ways, much like he was last season. And Joao Pedro, needless to say, is now my captain. Highest points tally for me this week. And so I pray to the gods of FPL that he is going to continue to do that into week 2. On the bench, we got Matthews, Shaw, Mitchell, and Brobby. Again, the FPL code is WFNB for you. It is Whiskey Foxtrot November, Bravo 4 uniform. If you're listening on Spotify, I've just spelled it out for you. There you go. Okay, moving on. We have Chelsea's issues. I would suggest we'll go through this relatively. Well, we'll see. We'll see. First off, Sanchez. And now we can kind of go into ways that things can begin to get better in terms of transfers and all that sort of jazz. Okay, so we have been, at least as the time of recording, we have been offered Emi Martinez from Aston Villa as a goalkeeper. I can't imagine a world in which he doesn't immediately, well, I say immediately, obviously he'd need to fit in a bit. Basically what I'm saying is I don't think he's going to come in as a second option. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. I think whilst this seems quite harsh on Penders, who wasn't and probably won't be given a chance to showcase that he's capable of being a number one. He'll probably play against Luton with that said. But I think if Emi Martinez comes in, at the very least, he will be our second choice. Sanchez, I think this is the biggest indication that Alonso is a little bit scared, a little bit worried with him as our number one. Fabrizio Romano has said a couple of hours ago that Chelsea are in negotiations with Emi Martinez's camp over a possible late move. The Argentinian goalkeeper has been offered to Chelsea as Suzuki will be the starting goalkeeper at Aston Villa as per David Ornstein. Talks ongoing, Chelsea considering this option. Emi Martinez is keen. As we know, or if you have been keeping up with the transfer news over the last, even last year, he was crying because he wanted to leave and thought that by crying and doing his farewells at the end of the season, last season, not this season just gone, but the one before, I think it was, it would help push out a move because it showed that he was ready for a new fucking whatever. It is another Argentinian in the squad, unfortunately. I say that with all love, but we might be losing Fernandes. We've got Barco. We might be getting Martinez. Barco and Martinez, two of the biggest bastards Argentina have, arguably two of the biggest bastards in football. So if we got to keep Fernandes in the end, that is 3 big Argentinian bastards in our ranks, to be honest with you. But again, Sanchez for me, that game is one game too many, where I've seen people defend him and say it's too early to assess it. It's too early to criticize him. It's not too early at all. It's not too early at all. In fact, it's too late. And it will be too late if we continue to allow him to be our number one. We can't compete in any capacity with that clown in goal. That's the bottom line. I've seen people say, well, I think Matisse said it, to be honest with you. And I couldn't quite understand unless he was referring to something else or it was tongue in cheek. But he said, if this was a conversation that was worth having, we would have done this back in June and we'd have a goalkeeper by now. No, we've had this conversation since fucking 3 years ago when we got the fucker. He's not been good. He's not been consistent. He's not been reliable in any way, shape or form. Great shot stopper when he can. But apart from that, he's born to make mistakes. People are saying, oh, he doesn't always make... I cannot remember the last game he didn't make a single mistake. Just even one mistake as the minimum. He is born and bred to make mistakes. And I'm sick of it. Emi Martinez is a good placeholder until we get someone full-time, whenever that may be. But we always know the situation with Bluco. A goalkeeper is not the priority in their eyes for whatever reason. I do not know why. Defensively, Gusto and Colwill were the main culprits, alongside Sanchez, of course, being the three main poor performance players. Gusto, I'm hoping Palestra is back, either against Luton, but if not, hopefully against Brighton. I don't know if it was an injury or if it was much like Caicedo, where it's a minor injury, but I'm fairly sure Palestra was just out of the squad because he didn't make the squad. It is what it is. But Colwill needs to get a fucking grip. Terrible performance, nearly led to a goal from him. And the less said about Gusto, the better, because I don't think anyone else can be asked for Gusto to be in this squad anymore. Enzo Fernandez, I've said this. I did a video a day before the deadline, I use with quotations, which absolutely was never, ever going to be fully enforced. They tried to play the scare tactic to force them to make £120 million bid. Should that then come back, that we end up getting 140, 50 million, whatever it is that we're being sort of touted to get now. Let me look it up as of recording. Enzo Fernandez, apparently it's still going. 2 hours ago, Manchester City said to be preparing an opening bid worth £100 million for Enzo Fernandez. If so, it is likely to be turned down after those inside Stamford Bridge insisted all summer that their valuation is at least £120 million. Obviously, as we know, Manchester City want him. As far as we know, Enzo Fernandez and his camp want the move. I don't see how this doesn't happen, and I don't see how Chelsea don't get shafted, really. And it's going to be embarrassing in many ways, mainly because of that deadline, which we tried to get them to spend more than they would, and force it out of them. The fact that we think that we still have that power to get something out of Man City these days, the culture's changed massively. We are not the juggernaut that we once were to be able to pull that kind of weight and pull that kind of, Billy Big Bollock move. Man City are the big dogs at the moment. They have been for a number of years now compared to us, especially in the transfer market. Players aren't looking to come to Chelsea over Manchester City at the moment. So the fact that he wants to go there is also telling. Let's just call it how it is. They can say that they'll turn it down. I can undeniably, I can 100% see it now that, there'll be leaks, there'll be reports, but I can already see that this will go for an undisclosed amount. It will be one of those deals where Enzo goes for an undisclosed fee. And it's because we don't want to disclose how much it was, because it was way less than we were hoping to sort of be proud about and announce to the world. Enzo going, do we have a replacement in mind? We do have some names, but he appears to be moving if the price is right and the replacement is brought in. That's what the reports have been. I don't know. It seems like a matter of when rather than if at this point. And for me, like I said, it is. It was always going to happen. Like I said, even before that deadline hit, I did a video saying that he should go. He should go. Enzo Fernandez should go. No one. A lot of people want him there. The fucking kids want Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea still. The people that look at him as like this cool fucking like, oh, he's won the World Cup, he's so cool, look at his fucking tattoos and all this bollocks. Anyone that's got any fucking sense knows he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to play for the club. That and that alone means to me and anyone else with a brain, he should fuck off. It's a shame. It's a damn shame that it's got to this. But as soon as anyone, not just Enzo Fernandez, but as soon as anyone wants to go to a club that they feel like they're going to be better suited to, win trophies at, they're not bought into the project and all that sort of bollocks, piss off. I know that the people will be like, well, I don't want that to be the case. It is. It has been for a while. He was always using us for a stepping stone. He wanted Real Madrid. Man City's the next best option for him. Just let it go. Let it go. Caicedo's injury, slightly concerning, but at the same time, I guess we'll see how it goes. Apparently only minor. James as a full-time midfielder, it seems like that might be the case. And if not, then where does he fit into the 3-4-2-1? Is he going to play as a fullback if Caicedo and Enzo or whoever the other midfielder may be? Can he last? Can James play at wing back for a whole season? We do have less games, one game a week, so maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But his injury history obviously riddles me with, I don't know, a lack of confidence, to be honest with you, that he can see that through. But again, no European football, early stages of the cups. Who knows? Chelsea's pros, we've gone through it, but the front three of dreams. Absolutely unbelievable front three in that opening performance. Hopefully that can be replicated time after time after time, and they can prove to be a very scary front three. With this front three, can we compete? Absolutely. But defensively, still shaky. Goalkeeper? Absolutely not. That said, defensively, Lacroix, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Professional, official debut from him. Can't wait to see him play more. We're standing at the bar with Maxine. Was it Maxence? Maxence Guy Lacroix. Butchered that. Okay, Luton up next. We'll go through this quickly. I'm just going to give you a couple of options for what I think my starting 11 or what I think the starting 11 should be. Obviously, Wesley Fofana was absent in the first game against Fulham because of a disciplinary or you know, he was sent off in the last game, obviously. So I'm fairly sure it was a second yellow, was it not? Am I right in thinking that? I could be wrong. I'm fairly sure it was. Let me just check quickly. Against Sunderland. It was a second yellow. So, yeah, it's only one game. Fofana will be back. So, I've gone Penders in goal because I can't imagine Sanchez starts this game. I've gone with Achimpong, Fofana, and Chavaria in the back three with Palestra with a little asterisk next to it because we don't know what his sort of status is right now. I've got him at right wing back, Hato at left wing back, and then I have Barco and Asugo in midfield. No Caicedo because I don't think we're going to risk him ahead of Brighton. Obviously, a big game there, playing against our dads, basically, our owners, our supplier. I've then gone with Esteval on the right, maybe Neto on the left. I don't know. We'll see because obviously he's still touted for a move. The last time I checked, I don't think there was any real movement on anything unless something's happened. It doesn't look like there has been. So Liverpool are focusing. No. Nothing to do with Pedro Neto there. I was like, Liverpool going for Pedro Neto. Neto, and then Welbeck up top. All right. Up next as well, after that, the next time I talk to you will be after the Brighton game. So Brighton at home. We're going to be... it's going to be a tough game. Especially with Brighton beating Villa 4-0 the other day. Now that Welbeck is at Chelsea, we may stand a chance of winning because he won't be there to come on as a super sub. Love to see it. We have Brighton having scored 11 goals in their last 4 games against us, which is fantastic considering we just conceded a couple against Fulham. A draw to me seems most likely given the history, given the potential injuries that we have, given our likelihood to make mistakes, and given our performance defensively against Fulham and Brighton's against Villa. I feel like it's going to be maybe like a 1-1, 2-2 kind of situation. I don't know. We're due a win. We are due like an emphatic win against them. So given their result against Villa, a big win against Brighton would be such a big result. It really, really would. My lineup for that is as followed. I've gone with Sanchez in goal. I've gone with Wes, Lacroix, and Colwell as our back 3, with Palestra again at right wing back. Depending on his injuries, he might play in one or the other, or he might play in both. We'll never know. But I could also see Gusto playing in one or the other, so that Palestra doesn't go straight back into playing 90 minutes. Again, Hato at left wing back. We've then gone with James and Caicedo in midfield. And then, of course, Palmer, Rodgers, and Joao Pedro up top. Right. All that leaves us with today is predicting some of the results. I'm not going to bother with Carabao Cup just because who gives a fuck? It's round 2. Luton, though, I will say for Chelsea Luton, I do think it will be... Depending how strong our lineup is, obviously, but I could see it being like a 4-1, maybe like a 5-1. We're at home. They're League One now. They're in the pits. So I would like to see it be like a big result. Quick fire then. We've got English Premier League. Crystal Palace versus Manchester City on Friday. I will be doing a stream for that, so I look forward to seeing you all there for that. Crystal Palace, Man City. I think that is going to be, albeit Crystal Palace, especially at the Etihad, but this is at Smellhurst, so I'm going to go 3-0 Manchester City for that game. Liverpool Forest. I'm just going to go with an easy 3-1. 12:30 kickoff. I'm going the 1 goal for Forest. Maybe Delap. If he plays, he might get a goal there. 3-1 or 3-3 if Delap if Liam Delap gets a hat trick. Who knows? Bournemouth versus Everton. Again, I thought Bournemouth were very good against Manchester City, so I think that'll be like a 1-1, maybe 2-2. Coventry Hull, we've got the battle of the absolute fucking... Hull look like they could absolutely annihilate Coventry, so I'm actually going to go. Unfortunately for Frank Lampard, I think it's going to be 2-1 to Hull. Tottenham Newcastle, some potentially big news for that, involving myself, with doing a watch along, not with myself, but with someone else. I won't name names because it might not happen, but it might do. Very, very vague. Tottenham versus Newcastle. I'm going to go 4-1 Newcastle on that game. Then we've got the next day, Chelsea versus Brighton. As I said, I think it'll be 1-1, 2-2. Leeds, Brentford. Brentford look very, very good. I'm going to go 2-0 Brentford. Sunderland, Fulham, that could be a 0-0 written all over it, to be honest with you. Maybe 1-1, but a draw nevertheless. Then we have United versus Ipswich. Again, that just screams Ipswich could get a result at Old Trafford. Do you know what I mean? Like that just seems like a game that United would lose at home. But I am going to go with a 2-0 Manchester United on that occasion. And then last but not least, Aston Villa at home versus Arsenal. I'm going to go for a pretty convincing 2-0 from Arsenal in that game. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, to be completely honest with you. As it stands, Brighton top of the league, Chelsea in 6th, Tottenham in 19th. United in 17th. It's beautiful. It's really, really shaping up already to be nothing that anyone predicted, which is the beauty of it being just one game. The table looks wild, to say the least. With that said, I think we've actually smashed through that pretty quick, to be honest with you. A shorter episode than the last. I thought there'd be plenty more to talk about, to be honest with you. But there we go. Such is life. Steve Bruce reveals substituting Brandon Thomas. I couldn't give a bollocks, to be honest with you. Yeah. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Again, thank you so much for watching or listening. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, give it whatever you want, you know? And again, to clarify, these episodes, they'll go out when they go out. I'll do one for each match week. I can't promise they'll be out on a specific day and time every time, because sometimes we play on a Monday. Sometimes we play on a Saturday. I would like to get the match week done, including all the other games, before I post. So it's going to be dicey at times, especially when Champions League is played. But we'll just play it by ear. I'm going for consistency over, getting a load of shit out just for the sake of it, With that said, again, thank you so much for watching, listening. I'm rambling now. Until the next one, my name is Harry, up the Chelsea, and peace.